John Mohammed's government. We reject that narrative entirely. And I repeat, the New Patriotic Party rejects that narrative entirely. They think that the conviction of Chairman Wontumi will be the trophy to appease the Ghanaian people for their failures. This is no trophy. The Ghanaian people cannot fail to notice that while the political opponents who have done no wrong are being aggressively persecuted, questions remain unanswered regarding individuals associated with his party and government who have themselves been publicly linked to illegal mining activities. Indeed, the president himself has acknowledged that persons in his administration are involved in Galamsey. What concrete action has followed those admissions? Who are those members of the president's party that are engaged in Galamsey of which the president knows of? What has become of the petition submitted to Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, seeking an investigation into allegations concerning Mr. Joseph Yamin, the NDC national organizer, and Abanga Yakubu, vice chairman of the NDC? You're asking these questions. Mr. President, what has become of those investigations? What has happened to Honorable Mohammed Yakubu, NDC MP for Ahafo North South, Ahafo North Southeast, and his DC who was sacked from a chief's palace after they alleged that he was heavily involved in Galamsey in their traditional area? What happened to the NDC MP for Aworin, Honorable Oscar Ofori Labi, who was accused by the chiefs and the people of Aworin, as well as Ghana's coalition against Galamsey, for engaging in Galamsey? Why has the nation not witnessed the same level of urgency and determinations in those matters? Justice cannot be selective. And I repeat, justice cannot be selective. The fight against illegal mining cannot become credible only when it targets political opponents in respect of whom evidence of wrongdoing does not exist, while overlooking allegations involving others, especially from the president's own party. Ladies and gentlemen, we also wish to state that Ghana faces far greater than political persecution at a time when our nation is grappling with growing security threats, the devastating impact of illegal mining on our cocoa farmers and farming communities and the areas owned by farmers, the government's inadequate response to recent flooding across the country, and the increasing menace of terrorism within the sub-region, Ghanaians expect leadership that demonstrates agency, competence, and an unwavering commitment to protecting lives, livelihoods, and national security. No government should attempt to divert public attention from those pressing national concerns through selective prosecutions designed to create the appearance of success. Finally, let me assure all members of the New Patriotic Party and the good people of Ghana that Chairman Wontumi is not alone. There is no justification for the judgment since the judge obviously ignored clear evidence exonerating Wontumi. The New Patriotic Party stands firmly with him. Our legal team has already commenced the necessary steps to challenge his judgment through the appellate process. The NPP considers Wontumi a political prisoner. The NPP considers Wontumi a political prisoner.
So you hear the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, the NPP, Justin Kodia Frempeh. Some prominent figures within the NPP have appealed to President John Mahama to consider granting a presidential pardon to the party's Ashanti Regional Chairman, Bernard Entwi Bosiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, The appeal follows the High Court's decision to sentence Entry to 20 years imprisonment after finding him guilty on 6 counts related to illegal mining activities on the Boy concession in the Western region. The court, presided over by Justice Audrey uh, Kokuvete, also imposed a fine of 10,000 penalty unit, equivalent to 120,000 Ghana cedis, with an additional 3-year custodian term in default of payment. Mami Abba Brew, a court correspondent, was in court today, and she joins me in studio with details on what transpired. So, Abba, run us through the whole proceedings from morning. Let's start with Chairman Wuntumi as he came in. What was his mood? And after the judgment, what was his mood? Who did he come in with? He also cited Paul Grave as part of his team today. So run us through the happenings in court today.
Well, Nana Agyemang, today at the High Court, the Justice Audrey Kokuvite, who happens to be the presiding judge, who has been on the case of the Chairman Wuntumi Samra Boy illegal mining case, delivered the judgment today at the High Court. And as expected, it was supposed to be at 9 a.m. today, and so most of us were there before then. And I can also say that today's security was a bit tight at the Accra High Court, and so there was an unusual security presence at the Accra High Court today. Normally, when you get to the High Court, you can see about 2 or 3 police personnel, but today there were much more police personnel at the Accra High Court. And then Chairman Wuntumi was actually sentenced on 2 main counts. And count one, the charge for count one was that he assigned the mineral rights without approval from the then minister.
Mm-hmm.
And so on count one, he was jailed 20 years with 10,000 penalty units, which is equivalent to 120,000.
Right. So Abba is still here in the studios with our court correspondent. She was in court and she joins us in studio. But let's move to Esther, my colleague Esther Misiham Natal Baba, who was or is currently at the NPP's meeting, and she joins us on the line. Esther, if you can hear me, has the meeting ended? And we played excerpt from Justin Kodia, the General Secretary. What more can you bring to us?
Yeah, so Prempeh, the MPP is saying that Chairman Wuntumi is a political prisoner. First of all, they claim the court couldn't provide evidence or fact that Chairman Wuntumi did not have a legal document for operation, but rather he was convicted based on hearsay, or he gave his documents for mining to a third person to operate with. So the MPP are saying that this conviction has no strong base. Therefore, they are filing for an appeal to defend Chairman Wuntumi for the rightful thing to be done. Also, the question the president of Ghana, President Mahama, that his administration is full of people with such negative things, doing worse of. So the MPP is saying that this current government is abusing power, and therefore they won't agree or sit and watch for the MPP the NDC to continue with that.
Esther, did they state when they are going to appeal?
Okay, so they said as soon as possible. That is what the General Secretary of the MPP is saying.
Right. So is it is he the only one who addressed the media as regard
Yes.
this? Very well. So you heard my colleague Esther Misiham Baba, who is currently at the NPP headquarters covering the press conference they had a while ago. You heard except from the NPP's General Secretary Justin Kodia Frimpong, who is saying that or is accusing the government of harassing or he painted Wuntumi as a political prisoner. So Abba, you saw Wuntumi this morning. The NPP is saying that he is now a political prisoner. They've made him a political prisoner. When he was entering the court or when he came to court, what was his demeanor like?
Well, he was very calm. Normally, when he's coming to court, he's always calm. And so today, before he entered the court complex, he was looking calm as well as always, up until the judgment was delivered, and then you could see how remorseful he was when the CID officials were actually taking him into the car to begin his 20 years sentence.
Right. So did he come with some supporters and
Yes, I could spot a few of his family members. In fact, today the High Court was full of media personnel, his family members, the general public. Most people were actually there to hear the judgment of
and
Wontumi.
what were their sentiments?
Of course, after the judgment was passed, most people looked a bit sad.
Very well. So that's our court correspondent, Mami Ababrio, painting a picture of how Wuntumi's case unfolded in court, from him coming in, his demeanor, and all that. Now, a lawyer for Chairman Wuntumi has expressed concerns over the High Court's decision to convict and sentence his client in the illegal mining case involving the Samurai Boy concession. The lawyer said the judgment was unexpected, arguing that circumstances of the case. But before that, the NPP figures in Ashanti region argue that while they respect the court's decision, President Mahama has the constitutional authority to exercise the prerogative of mercy in appropriate circumstances. Leading the calls for clemency is former NPP Ashanti Regional Vice Chairman Kwabena Insitre.
Spirit, both the committee are moving Adampu Spirit. So we are not looking at that, but we are all looking, say, justice a bit prevail. So what you say? What we are sentencing to 20. And I make us say, I want to hear from the lawyer, his lawyers. Until after sending lawyers are banned, as a party, we know what we also have to say what you say. Because some people were in jail, but President Dramani Mahama pardon, say what you say. So it will be very, good for John Mahama say, obey my pardon. None anymore you make na yekesi. Say what you say. Because we are father for all there. Now we are assemblies in India. Abuphobia baby. Yemfanche. Yempadin.
To why you busa bensema. Me see for mana omode news label. To me say I don't want to believe it, but said need the anina afa omoka. To me ankasa de said obia onim said want to me ebini. Nti asam na bomi pusa. Let me put it in short. Na afei na ma free fee. Obia esu ho nti me free her me make na afei de obia, and we see the next line of action. The abusiano so so Inti news no de yene wa ha no maka kire me. I have not heard the sentence from unless I go back then
20 years.
That's a harsh. Very know that the offense that they charged him with. I think it was between 1 to 25. So maybe the judge decided to do that. I don't want to speculate.
Easy on me. Me standing here, you can see that I'm shaking. It has not been easy on me. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't have any background concerning issue of lawyer and anything about legal issues. So I just put that on hold. What we have is that our people are talking about it. We have leadership. I'm part of the leadership, but we have those who know much. I think they will deal with the issue at the appropriate time. I just pray that may the Almighty Allah grant him the safest, modest punishment that he deserves. And the government should look at it again. We're all politicians. And we are all human beings. We can err somewhere along the line. So they should also look at it at that point. And I know, inshallah, things will be well with him.
So you had some public figures within the NPP sharing their views with Class News. Now, a lawyer for Chairman Wuntumi has expressed concerns over the High Court's decision to convict and sentence his client in the illegal mining case involving the Samurai Boy concession. The lawyer said the judgment was unexpected, arguing that the circumstances of the case did not support the outcome reached by the court. He also questioned the interpretation and application of the relevant provisions of the Minerals and Mining Act 2006, Act 703, which formed the basis of the charges against Entry Bosiako, or popularly known as Chairman Wuntumi. According to him, the provisions cited in the case related to the assignment of mining rights rather than ownership of a mining concession, suggesting that the law may be incorrectly applied. Right, we are trying to get that sound, but we have a a lawyer, a private legal practitioner, and a member of the National Democratic Congress, Amaliba. Good evening, Council, and thanks for joining us tonight. Hello, Mr. Amaliba, are you on the line?
Thank you for having me.
Right, you're welcome. So, how does the NDC view this conviction of a sitting NPP?
The outcome of the trial.
Okay.
Having culminated into a conviction and sentencing.
Hello?
What was your question?
Yeah, so I'm asking, how does the NDC view this conviction of a sitting NPP regional chairman? Vindication of the rule of law, or is it that there's a political dimension here too? Because the NPP is labeling Untumi as a political prisoner.
Well, this is a matter that is purely criminal in the sense that he was prosecuted under the Minerals and Mining Act, and so it has no political coloration. It is purely an act that was committed by Wontumi. Never mind, he's a politician, but once he was taken through due process, I think it's the rule of law that is victorious.
Right, so some have raised concerns about how the Minerals and Mining Act was applied in this case. Does the NDC have a view on the strength of the judgment itself?
The Mining Act prohibits illegal mining as well as related offenses. It is very strict. It called for a mandatory prison sentence of 15 to 25 years. But I think that the judge decided to give Wontumi 20 years and did not give Wontumi the maximum. The minimum is 15, the maximum is 25. But I think the sentence today said 20 years. So at least the judge was magnanimous. So the judge has no power, as it were, to go beyond 15 years. And he has no power to go beyond 20 years. This is a prescribed offense. And it was amended in 2019 to bring about these sentences, or this sentence, this penalty. In 2019, the law was amended to increase the sentence to have the minimum 15 and 25 years. So I think, all in all, the judge was within his power, and he did what he was mandated to do under the law.
And also, some prominent figures within the NPP are now appealing to President Mahama for a presidential pardon. What's your reaction to that request coming so soon after the sentencing?
They are calling on the president to do what?
To grant Wontumi a presidential pardon. Is it something that you feel is so soon?
Well, the judiciary has executed its responsibilities. Under our constitution, the president has what is called the power of prerogative of mercy. So, for me, I will wait to see how the president would accept the request, in what way he's going to accept the request. But I want to limit myself to what happened in court today.
Right. So before I let go of you, Council, given Wontumi's profile as a vocal NPP figure, do you see this conviction as being read differently?
I can't hear.
Can you hear me now, Council?
Let's try. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm saying, before I let go of you, given Wontumi's profile as a vocal NPP figure, do you see this conviction as being read differently along party lines, or it is what it is?
It's too faint.
Is it better now?
It's too faint.
Is it better now?
I'm trying. Let's do one more time.
Okay. So one more time, I want to know, given Wontumi's profile as a vocal NPP figure in this country, do you see this conviction as being read differently along party lines, or it is what it is?
Do I see the conviction as what?
As being read differently along party lines, or it should be what it is?
So I know clearly the NPP will not be happy, but We have a country to run. We are a country of laws. It doesn't matter your stature in society. It doesn't matter your support. Once the laws are breached and it is clear that you caused the breach, let's not allow people to hide behind the law. That will be detrimental to the development of this country. It therefore means that persons like you and me who don't have support, who are not known in communities, who don't have anybody, we should be the ones to be subject to the law. But people can be subject to the law and still, because of their political affiliations, they walk free. We cannot have a two-tier regime. One regime for the less known and the less connected, and another regime for the connected and the well-known. I don't think that's how to run a country.
Right, very well. Thanks for your time in your submission on 505 today. You had a private legal practitioner member of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, Abraham Amaleba. We've also been joined on the phone lines by a member of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining and the Executive Director of Eco-Conscious Citizens, Awula Sewa. Awula, good evening and thanks for joining us.
Good evening to you and your listeners. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. So I want to know, how does the coalition view this conviction? Is this the breakthrough moment you've been pushing or waiting for as part of your fight against Galamsey?
A lot of work has gone into getting the conviction. You recall that the media against Galamsey, Kenashigbe, and also Erastus Asare-Donko, repeatedly, information was being brought about the devastation, the ongoing devastation. I believe even the Catholic Bishops' Conference brought it to the attention of the then president that unfortunately he sought to exonerate Chairman Montuni, saying that there was no illegal mining going on. Be that as it may, after a lot of persistence, Chairman Montuni was arrested, prosecuted, and today the court has found him guilty and sentenced him to 20 years. So this just shows that it doesn't matter how long it takes. You can run, but you can't run forever. So it's putting all those involved in illegal mining, whether in the past administration or this current administration, is putting all perpetrators on notice that criminal activity will be dealt with. Even if it takes a long time, even if it tarries, it will come to pass. So I think it's a good call. It's been long coming, but it's a good call. And we're only hoping that the other persons named in Professor Frimpong Boateng's report, other persons currently actively involved or complicit, will also be arrested and prosecuted. The message has to go out loud and clear that Ghana comes first. There's ongoing ecocide, and anybody involved in the ecocide, it doesn't matter which party you belong to, it doesn't matter who your friends are, you will be held accountable.
Right, so I want to know what message does this send to other politically exposed persons still operating in this space?
Well, those who are operating, because you see, illegal mining is criminal activity. So those who are currently involved in criminal activity, poisoning Ghanaians, decimating our forest reserves, the message has gone out loud and clear that you might be next. You might be next. So you better stop destroying the environment, stop poisoning our water body. You see, it's a very serious matter. I don't know if people realize the gravity of the situation. Confanoche Hospital has told us that the number of kidney disease cases has gone up 4 times. Children are being born deformed. Water is life, and our water is being poisoned. This is not a joke. So everybody who is involved in this ecocide should know that law enforcement could be knocking on your door tomorrow morning. So we are encouraging all those involved in irresponsible mining to stop. Water is life. You cannot, because of personal greed, poison your fellow man.
Right. I will finally some figures in the NPP are calling on the president for a presidential pardon. So from where you sit, you've been championing this fight against Galamsey. What's your reaction to that? And would a pardon at this stage undo the progress the coalition says this case represents?
I'm sorry, the line was a little faint. Can you just repeat the question? I'm sorry about that.
Can you hear me? Is it better
Yes,
now?
I can hear you now.
Yes, I'm saying some key figures in the NPP are calling on the president or appealing for a presidential pardon as soon after the sentence. And I want to know, would a pardon at this stage undo the progress the coalition says this case represents?
You see, it's very disappointing. Very, very disappointing. I'm not quite sure if people have not seen the images, have not seen the devastation, if they are not aware of the meaning of ecocide, if they are not aware that over 60% of our water bodies have been poisoned as a consequence of the ongoing ecocide, if they can only see party colors but cannot see the gravity of the situation, it's just like your house is burning. An arsonist has been found guilty, and you want the arsonist to be pardoned whilst he has burnt the house and is setting and more fires are on. I think it's very, very disappointing. We believe that the right decision was reached. The conviction is a right one, and it should be a watershed moment for Ghanaians to know that accountability will come. Accountability will come. I'm not quite sure about the rationale in pardoning anybody because, you see, this is causing ecocide. Let's be very clear about what is going on. Because of people's personal greed, other people are dying. Other people have got kidney disease. Our children, what are we leaving to them? Poisoned waters, decimated forest reserve. So it's disappointing that we cannot for once put Ghana first and say that it doesn't matter which party anybody belongs to. If you're committing ecocide, you should be held accountable. And after you've been convicted, your assets should be sold and used towards the cost of reclamation, which is very, very expensive. It's very disappointing that we can't see beyond party colors to the gravity of the situation on the ground, the poisoning of our water bodies, the decimation of our forest reserves, and the fact that people are dying. Do we want to see people dropping dead on the streets before we appreciate the gravity of the situation?
Right. Very well. Let me say thank you for your time and submission on 505 tonight, Awula. Really do appreciate it. So you had a member of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining and Executive Director of Eco-Conscious Citizens, Awula Sewa. We've also been joined on the phone lines by Security Analyst and Executive Director of Jatike Center for Human Security and Peace Building, Adib Sani. Mr. Sani, good evening and thanks for joining us. Hello, Mr. Sani, are you on the line? We are trying to raise Adib Sani, who is a security analyst and executive director for Jatike Center for Human Security and Peace Building. Let's try one more time. Hello, Mr. Sani. Good evening and thanks for joining us.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Right. You're most welcome. So your center has called this a step toward the rule of law over impunity. What does this particular case carry? Why does this particular case, I should say, carry that weight?
Well, it is an incontrovertible fact that in the past there was no commitment whatsoever in fighting Galamsey, because as a center we have come out on a number of occasions with what we think, if it is done, would curb this canker in the bud. One of it is the enforcement of the law, ensuring that persons involved are dealt with according to the law. Unfortunately, there was no commitment. I mean, you remember the case of Aisha One, who was arrested, and we don't know how it ended. And we understood she was sent back. She was sent out of the country. Then the next minute she was back in the country, and there was a whole lot of controversy. So we think this judgment is a giant step in the right direction in ensuring that persons who are involved either directly or indirectly in illegal mining operations, that is destroying our water bodies, our forests, and that is causing a lot of health issues to many people, especially living alongside rivers which have been destroyed by mining. I have been to a lot of these mining areas in the Ashanti region and in the eastern and even western region, and I've seen firsthand the devastation it has caused. That is why we think that this judgment will send a clear message to others who are involved in the mining. It shouldn't be the end, because as we speak, there are thousands more currently as we speak who are mining. Hence, the need for us to use this as a stepping stone in ensuring sanity.
Right, so there's a statement from your outfit, and your statement is calling for a fair, consistent, non-partisan approach. Do you have confidence that Ghana's institutions can maintain that consistency when politically exposed persons are involved in illegal mining activities?
Well, we have the laws, we have the institutions. It's just that the human beings supposed to ensure the institution works are usually the problem. With commitment, I believe we would be able to. And so what has happened is a clear manifestation of the willingness of this current government to ensure that illegal mining stops once and for all. But we are watching closely, because like I indicated, it shouldn't end with Chairman Wontumi. It has started with him, though, which is a good sign, which is a great event in our nation's history. And that is why I also wish to say that anyone who has issues with Chairman Wontumi being held to account for illegal mining, I'm sorry to say, isn't patriotic. I mean, because this harms everybody. It knows no political colors. I mean, I have been to mining areas and was led to medical facilities, and I've seen firsthand pictures of women delivering babies who don't look human. Babies with very, scary looks. People who have had, cancer diagnostics, and all can be linked to the chemicals that have been put into these waters, which people drink. So it is really a matter of grave national security concern that I think should be addressed. So I'm happy. It calls for a celebration, and I hope that it doesn't end here.
So you say you're happy. So does this mean that the conviction today marks a turning point for you and your outfit, or is it just too early to tell?
Well, something is definitely better than nothing. The fact that, one person, a very so-called, very powerful, so to speak, person has been arrested and made to go through the process, I think is a welcoming news. The right channels have been followed. And I do hope that the same channels will be followed in ensuring that all others who are so in the business of illegal mining are dealt with.
Very well. Thanks for your time, and thanks for speaking with us, Adib Sani.
My pleasure.
So you heard security analyst and executive director of Jatike Center for Human Security and Peace Building, Adib Sani. In other news, the case involving former National Service Scheme Executive Director Osei Esibe Enchi has been adjourned to 31st July 2026 after his lawyers indicated they were reviewing documents ahead of an application concerning frozen bank accounts linked to the matter. Counsel for Esibe Enchi, Ralph Poku Eduse, told the court that the defense intended to file an application seeking the release of some of the frozen accounts but needed additional time to review relevant documents before proceeding. He explained that the review was necessary to ensure the application was properly prepared before being presented to the court. The defense did not disclose details of the specific accounts involved or the nature of the documents being examined. Now let's turn our attention to some other stories. And HIV remains a major public health concern in Ghana, with thousands of new infections recorded every year despite ongoing efforts to reduce transmission. New figures from the Ghana AIDS Commission show that while the country has made progress in lowering new infections, significant regional and demographic gaps continue to shape the fight against the virus. Our report takes a closer look at the latest HIV estimates, the regions carrying the highest burden, and the groups most affected by the epidemic.
About 38 people are newly infected with HIV every day in Ghana, as new data from the Ghana AIDS Commission reveals 13,951 new cases in 2025 and identifies Greater Accra as the region with the highest burden. The latest estimate from the Ghana AIDS Commission indicates that the number of people living with HIV in Ghana has increased to 337,435. The figures show a decline in a new infection. The figure shows a decline in new infections compared to the 15,290 cases recorded in 2024, representing an 8.7% reduction. Greater Accra continues to record the highest number of people living with HIV, with 77,512 cases, followed by the Ashanti and Eastern region, which remains among the most affected areas in the country. The data also reveals that adult women account for about 68.5% of people living with HIV, while young people aged 15 to 24 years contributes to about 28% of new infections. Children aged 0 to 14 years make up 5.4% of the total HIV population. Despite the decline in new infections, the Ghana AIDS Commission says challenges remain in achieving global HIV control target, particularly in testing, treatment coverage, stigma reduction, and sustainable financing. The Commission is strengthening Ghana's HIV response through the National HIV Prevention Roadmap 2026 to 2028, which focuses on improving prevention programs, expanding access to treatment, and increasing domestic support for HIV interventions.
So that was the News Desk report. The Education Minister, Haruna Idrisu, has announced that the government has approved the recruitment of an additional 16,000 teachers to strengthen the country's education system. Speaking during the government's accountability series during a mid-year assessment of the education sector, the Minister of Education said the recruitment will begin in November after the ongoing employment of 7,000 teachers is completed. He explained that the additional recruitment will be carried out in two phases of 8,000 teachers each, with the first batch expected to begin work in January and February 2027. The minister said the exercise is aimed at reducing the teacher deficit across the country, with priority to be given to underserved and deprived districts rather than already saturated urban areas. He also disclosed that appointment letters for the current batch of 7,000 newly recruited teachers are expected to be issued by the Ghana Education Service from Friday.
So let me preempt it that as I speak, beginning Friday, appointment letters should be out from the Director General of GES. We said 1st July. We revised it because of the system we're going through. We are currently employing 7,000 teachers. The President and the Minister of Finance have granted another approval beginning in November, but for them to begin work January, February for an additional 16,000 in two cohorts of 8,000 plus 8,000. So we will recruit teachers together with nurses, but it will be a process. After we've completed this 7,000, in November we'll open for the first 8,000. They will start work somewhere January, February, and an additional 8,000 will follow subsequently. We know that there is a deficit of teachers across the country. In this recruitment process, we have prioritized deprived districts. So many of the districts like Sola, Sangule, Fumbisi should get more, and Bwaku in the Sefi area than the concentrated urban areas.
He also announced plans to establish a national teacher university as part of reforms to strengthen teacher education in Ghana. He said the proposed institution will bring all public teacher training colleges under one university system as constituent colleges. He also directed officials to submit a proposal on the initiative by the end of week, adding that government is considering locating the university's headquarters in the Volta region.
I also hinted whilst President Mahama was in Volta region on his accountability tour that, so Professor Odro, you and your team, Professor Aoku, I need a paper before the end of day on Friday. Want to establish a national teacher university with all the other teacher training colleges becoming constituent colleges to a headquarters of the institution, probably looking at Peki in the Volta region. You know, the oxygen there is very healthy, as the president said. So that would be choice of value. So, Minister, let me thank.
So you heard the Minister of Education, Haruna Idrisu. Before we bring you business, let me do some LPMs, and this one is from MTN Ghana. It says, sometimes big moments start with small things. A call to a loved one, a Momo transaction to support family, a bundle to grow your business. But what if they could lead to something bigger than you ever imagined? With the MTN at 30 promo, every call, every text, every browse, every Momo transaction, every connection to home fiber, and every activity on the MTN app earns you points towards amazing rewards, including 9 brand new Toyota Land Cruiser Prados, over 10 million Ghana cedis in cash prizes, and unforgettable experiences just for you. Because every move counts. Dial star 530 hash or use my MTN app to participate now and let's stay connected everywhere you go. MTN at 30 promo, make every move count. Terms and conditions applied. Now let's go over to the phone lines and speak with Evans Owusu, who is the Vice President for the Coalition of Unemployed Trained Teachers. Hello, Evans. Good evening, and thanks for joining us.
Good evening.
Right, so there's the latest revelation coming in from the Education Minister this morning when he took his turn at the Government Accountability Series. How do you feel about the government's decision to recruit additional 16,000 teachers when many trained but unemployed teachers are still waiting for opportunities?
All right, thank you very much. And first of all, I'd like to greet your lovely listeners. Yeah, with the saying from the minister today, I think it should have been a good news for unemployed trained teachers. But I'm sorry to say, in a way, on trained teachers, we are sad and we are feeling bad as we speak. You may ask why, and the additional number from the president is something that we recommend the government for doing. But with the first 7,000 that was mentioned, it was said that today, 20th July, a letter was released from juniors that appointment letters will be issued out. That is today, 20th July. So yesterday, when we saw about the flyer that the minister will be reading an account today, we thought probably it is a good opportunity because the account will be read on the day the appointment letters will come. Just for the president, the minister to say that the appointment letters will start coming by Friday. And so trainees on trained teachers, we are now asking ourselves that where from the inconsistencies in numbers, in dates, and everything, because we are confused. The additional number should come as a news. But is that number to be added somewhere November, December, of which they will start work January, February? Earlier on with our demonstration and other issues, we said that 2 badges are home, the 3rd badge are on their service, and the 4th badge will complete 20th of this August. So let's focus on the 2 that the government opened the portal for, that is 2023 and 2024. 2023, since 2023, about 3 years now, recruitment dates keep changing and the news keeps changing. Now the numbers came that 7,000 out of the 40,000 that were applied, and letters will be issued out today. At first, they said 1st July, it didn't come on. They said today. And now another date has been given by the Minister for Education, but from 24th. So the issue is that we are happy with the number, but the truth of the matter is that the inconsistency in dates and in numbers is not making us trust the process.
Right. So your problem now is trust.
Yes.
So on that trust aspect, what would be that message you want to send to the government regarding trust and this whole exercise?
Thank you very much. We want to let the government know that as trained teachers, earlier, what we know is that after you are being, you are done with college, you are being employed in our bodies. But this government said we are going to we flew two badges together. From June, they said they will be recruiting 50,000 and stuff. But the numbers keep changing. Now, what we are telling the government is that if they are adding another number, there should be clear timeline in the recruitment process. We were making demonstrations and out the letter last week, indicating that we shouldn't follow and the fake information by other people who are giving disclaimers and stuff. And that they have given us schedules, and the schedules are as follows. Is that 20th July, appointment letters will come. From 20th July, which is today, to 31st, ongoing registration from the regional and the district level will be done. Now, today, the minister comes to speak, and the minister says from Friday. So we are actually confused and we are not believing anything again. So we are pleading with the government. If a timeline has been given, it should be followed. Because if these things have been followed, the additional 8,000 would have come so fast.
Right.
But it looks like dates keep postponing, and it is sad to complete 2023, finish your service, and you are still home. So please, we are pleading with the government that if something we can take, the timelines that are always given, it should be followed. So that is our problem now.
Very well. Thanks for speaking with us. So you had the Vice President for the Coalition of Unemployed Trained Teachers, Evans Oz. It's time for business, and Elizabeth Edu is here.
The government of Ghana has raised 9.98 billion Ghana cedis from the latest Treasury bill auction, exceeding its target by 35.55% as investor demands remain strong across the 91-day.
Sustained demand for short-term gains remain the most sought-after instrument, attracting 8.31 billion Ghana cedis in bids. The benchmark 91-day bill drew 3.51 billion Ghana cedis in bids, of which 3.04 billion Ghana cedis was accepted. Investors tendered 873.97 million Ghana cedis for the 182-day bill, with Treasury accepting 584.98 million Ghana cedis. The third consecutive oversubscribed auction points to sustained investor confidence in the government securities, despite elevated yields. Looking ahead, the government plans to raise 9.49 billion Ghana cedis in the next auction as it seeks to meet its short-term financing requirements.
The Minister of Finance, Dr. Kesla Toforson, is expected to present the mid-year budget review in Parliament on Thursday, July 23, 2026. The Minister will, on the day, unveil the government's long-awaited new economic policy. The policy is expected to signal government's shift from economic stabilization to a long-term growth agenda while consolidating the microeconomic gains achieved over the year. Ahead of the presentation, businesses are looking forward to measures that will reduce the cost of doing business, improve access to credit, and support local industries, while investors are keenly watching for policy decisions on taxation, public spending, and the broader economic outlook. Speaking to Class News, the National Director of Welfare of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Benjamin Yeboah, outlined the expectation of traders ahead of the review.
This has always been the case, definitely, because we will be going for the media review. One had to do with the review of the new VAT system, which was introduced this year. When the VAT was introduced regarding the new act on the higher side.
That's the National Director of Welfare for the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Benjamin Yeboah. To some international news, Cameroon will launch a nationwide tax recovery operation on August 1 as authorities move to regain and reclaim more than 500 million US dollars in unpaid taxes and customs duty linked to uncleared gold exports after international trade data exposed a vast gap in the country's official export records. The operation will target mining companies and unregistered production sites suspected of under-declaring gold output or operating outside the formal fiscal and custom framework. The Ministry of Mines, Industry and Technological Reporting which shows that the country officially recorded just 22.30 kilograms of gold export in 2023, while the United Arab Emirates alone reported importing more than 15 tons of gold from Cameroon over the same period. The EITI described
50*5 fashion win up to 1 million Ghana cedis or more in cash prizes instantly. It is easy, it is exciting, it is regulated by the National Lottery Authority. Just dial *850*5 to play now, and it's easy to play. So simply dial *850*5 on all networks, choose your station to play game, select stake amount from 5 cedis to 2,000 Ghana cedis, choose your lucky card out of 5 options, confirm gameplay and enter your Momo pin. Receive your game result and winnings instantly. It is easy, fun and exciting. Get ready to scratch, win and live your best life with review scratch for win up to 1 million Ghana cedis for grabs. Dial *505*850*5#. That is the short code to play. Review scratch for win scratch kekene diska say bam. Review is strictly for persons 18 years plus. Review scratch for win is powered by Super.